Afrobeats is a movement.
It's given us a sound that is our own.
The feeling Afrobeats makes me feel, yeah, there's pride in it.
The Beats Diaspora ends its journey where everything began, in Africa. I'm Tenny, and in this episode, we are in Lagos, Nigeria, to talk about Afrobeat.
When I hear people talking to each other, like, bro, what's wrong with you? That's exactly who we are. That reminds me that I'm at home. And in that chaos, we find peace. We're bold, we're courageous, we're Nigerians, we are Afro. Boys.
Afrobeats is a movement, more than anything. It's a movement that characterizes the pop music that comes out from mostly West Africa. Nigeria is leading that. That's what it's called originally. The basic components of Afrobeats is the drumming. The drumming leads everything.
This is the beginning for music for me. This was where music started. This is a picture of me when I was younger, playing the drums. Something like that.
When it comes to African music, drumming in itself is music. There are strings instruments, there are wind instruments. With the drum alone, drum session, you have music. From a heartbeat to just that. This is the beginning of all music, just boom, 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 boom. My father, in fact, used to say that to know that you are making real African music, you have to make it without drums. Take of that what you will. That was one of his secrets of making African music.
For me, I swear, as long as Africa they suffer, Africa they hungry, Africa no unite, no freedom, no justice, no happiness, then go here.
Fela is the grandfather of Afrobeats in terms of the Afrobeat itself. There's difference between Afrobeats and the Afrobeats with an S. The Afrobeats that Fela pioneered is the organic one. Think roots reggae, what it is to dancehall music right now. So dancehall is like the pop version, whereas the roots reggae is the more conscious version. Because when you listen to our music now with Afrobeats, it doesn't sound exactly like Fela's music, but you can hear the elements.
Fundamentally, Afrobeats is built around the same progression as any kind of song. And that could be very American. But Afrobeats takes the same progression, puts a little bit of attitude. There's beats to it, it's percussive in nature. That's one unique element to Afrobeat.
Hey, can't steal my energy.
It's still the groove, that feel, something that motivates you, that moves you still to the heartbeat. You cannot do away with the heartbeat. That beat, that kick. Boom, 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 boom. tempo. So most of the Afro beats is either a fast beat or a slow beat. So you get the boom, boom. So rhythms like that, you always get that feel kick that invites you.
It's been a long journey, so I'll just have a few touch points. The first time people could feel the global impact of our music in this modern industry was in 2011 when D'Banj's Oliver Twist broke into the UK and did its work. So that convinced a lot of people and showed us that what we have here can work. 2015, Sony Music came down here, they signed Davido and they signed Wizkid. It was the first time a major was coming back into this market and saying, I like this culture and I want to put money down and invest in this culture. The rest of it is just modern history.
Afrobeats, as we know it today, is almost like a general term than a genre for West African urban music.
The umbrella term to introduce the sound would be Afrobeats. But in the Afrobeats, we have the Afropop, which is like the pop sound. Then we have the street music that is coming out. Afrofusion, which is what Burna Boy is pioneering, which is like a fusion of reggae dancehall, R&B soul, and everything. So at the end of the day, the difference is whatever you choose to call it as a creative.
It's its own thing. It's pop music, you know, and it's doing what pop music does. Borrows from everything else.
You know, so there's all those borrowed influences from the early music, the early Nigerian music.
I think at the beginning, it wasn't Afrobeats. There was no name for it. It was just, we just went to these parties and they're speaking a bit of English, a bit of Pidgin English, a bit of Yoruba in there, so you get a vibe that.
At the sit down for here, that's Pidgin. Mojoko ni pipai, that's Yoruba. I'm sitting here, that's English. So you see that Afrobeat artists are blessed that we are exposed to all these different languages and cultures.
It's music from Nigeria primarily, moving on to music from West Africa. So at the beginning, you just got that vibe. Very much celebratory, party, joy.
Nigerians, we always find a way to make each other happy, regardless of the situation.
Nigerians are generally and naturally happy people. But the economy, you know, there are not a lot of opportunities.
All the foreign music that comes into Nigeria was coming in as pirated CDs. That's the only way Nigerians could afford it based on the economy at the time. There was a huge gap in music distribution. So people couldn't distribute music properly. So there's a market on the outskirts of Lagos called Alaba International Market.
But mid-2000s, there was an artist named LD. He had a group called Tribesmen. And he's like, we can't sort out distribution. But if we can sort out distribution, then let's piggyback off another distribution system. And that was it. He worked his way out, and that was how Alaba became a thing.
They go to Alaba, so we go there, we get new music and everything, then we come back to sell it in the streets. So it's like DJ mix and mixtapes. So from there, I fell in love with music and said, yo, this is what I want to do.
When the internet came and improved things, we started distributing, we started going digital. People were making money from being an artist, not from selling the music.
We have the spirit to always want to get better. So that's a common thing, we hustle.
The top four are Burna Boy, Davido, Wizkid, and Diamond Platnumz from Tanzania. Now, the reason why it is that way, and it's the Nigerians that have the lion's share, is because Nigerians have always been the external ones. Nigeria has always been the people who leave the continent and go outside.
Nigerians, there are a lot of Nigerians in London. London is the second home of Afrobeats. London is our entry point into the rest of the world. Because of our huge diaspora crowd and how they've been there for many generations, and they're still seeking home, and they're still so connected to home from over there, what happens is they're the ones who spread the music. The diaspora is the core distribution pipeline for Afrobeats.
A lot of us are migrants in different countries. So there's a thing about Afrobeats that, although it was born in Lagos, it's actually very big in London. There's a big part of it is about being within a different culture and finding home and belonging.
And the music hits you, it's spiritual, like you just feel at home.
Yeah, man, so it's very important to me to represent Africa, to represent my heritage, because I feel that I had to represent people like me who was born outside of Africa.
I'm not African, but I'm a part of the African diaspora. I'm Haitian, and so when I hear Haitian music or Cape Verdean music or African music, I hear pieces of that that's familiar to what I hear at home. And that's what I really appreciate about music and food. And you might not necessarily know someone, but you can connect to a part of their heritage because of these links.
In every place, there's African somewhere. So with that, what doesn't get lost is the music. What doesn't get lost is the rhythm and the sound. Because I feel like when you go to Brazil, some of the music, it sounds similar to High Life in Ghana. Some of the music that's in Ghana sounds similar to the music that's in Jamaica. Everything's slightly connected, but everybody's added their own touch to it because of the environment that they are in.
Music breaks barriers, you know. There's a phrase in one of Wizkid's songs that it says that my music travels with no visa. And a lot of people can relate to that because, you know, a lot of Africans, you know, you can't even get to these countries because no one wants to give you a visa to travel. But music just travels where you can possibly travel. And in the world of social media and Spotify and all of that now, it really builds communities and creates cultures that other people get to experience other people's cultures.
My friend, whoa. Who they give una liver? I go chop una dinner. With the boys I lay on Khalifa. And me talk to my dealer. Make it big in my wow, mommy, I want this out.
Women in Afrobeats has always been part and parcel.
For me, it was more of my efforts, you know. Learning video directing, going from one location to another, going for competition till I got signed to my label. And, you know, it's just been a work of miracle and effort, you know.
Starting out as a music producer, there was no representation for women in the space because a lot of them do not even know that it's possible to do music production because they've not seen anybody.
Lady Dragon, my friend. There's this person you guys have to see. You need to see this lady, like her energy, her vibes, and you know, since then till now, like I've been like updating with you, like trying to like check normal vibes. So you know, I felt like good decisions was made.
Man, for me, I'm happy to see someone like you in this space. There are not a lot of people that dress like us, but there are people that dress like us.
Growing up, I'd watch a lot of female artists on TV, and in my head, I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. I think I would love to do that. It just felt really good. It just felt really powerful, empowering, seeing female do their thing on TV.
What is the importance and the challenges of being a female producer?
So I feel like the challenges for me, initially, was people taking me seriously. But I think another challenge I've faced is navigating the industry. Some people just feel like because you're a woman and you're producing, they now say they want to marry you or they want to...
You can be arrested.
So yeah,
sexual assault.
Yeah, so that's very difficult. It's annoying because they don't know. Like, you don't talk to a woman like this, especially in a professional setting.
Yes.
So I try. So those are some of the challenges.
You don't talk to women anyhow.
Yes.
You know, we live in a time where we have to contend with a lot. But on top of all of that, because we're resilient people, the music has to reflect our desire to be happy in spite of.
Well, the dominant expression is hedonism and an exploration into the human condition. We mostly express pleasure. I want to dance. I make more money. The aspirational part of it is just the lifestyle and the imagery about it. The utility of our music is in escapism.
African people should understand that being African, there's value in ourselves. You don't need to carry these European standards of beauty, standards of success everywhere with you. Because today when you see all the successful blacks, they all look the same. You know, they all have to be wearing some European brand, very visible, you know, not that it's just a Gucci shirt, it has to be a Gucci shirt. I think what my father was trying to do is to say, you know, we are valuable just the way we are. I think that's his biggest legacy, to bring value to African people for being African people.
So for us as Africans, as Nigerians, I mean, I always say this, if we don't want anything, we got music, and we got a genre of music everybody's cupping up from right now.
So when people think of Africa before now, what they think of is poverty, crime, and all of that, which is not to say that it's not there, but there's also the beautiful part of it. There's the warm, welcoming part of the African culture that doesn't get enough PR as much as the bad side.
Our music right now is on the top 10 charts in so many different countries. People start perceiving the country differently. When they ask you where you're from and you tell them Nigeria, so they're like, oh, okay. We saw you guys BET Awards, someone won an award for something, Grammys, you know, all of that stuff. It really creates a sense of pride.
Fela walked so that Two-Face could run. Two-Face ran so that Burna Boy could fly. Burna Boy stands out because he's the one who talks about all the things that go wrong. Not just the success of it, but the politics and social consciousness of it. Whether he's going to be as legendary as Fela is a different discussion.
Even for Burna, you can always like feel the old sound, especially like Fela and all. So it's still us already infusing like our sound and just like packaging it, taking it to like a global vibe. We're still doing more of it.
Of course.
There's authenticity.
Okay. You're right.
Don't kill me. It's very authentic, you know, and like an identity next to being a Nigerian or being African.
African music needs to be revolutionary, yeah. I don't know about music from anywhere else, but I think African music has to be revolutionary because African people need revolutionary change. And that revolutionary change definitely needs a soundtrack. We can't be singing about champagne and fast cars when African children are still walking to school and don't have clean water to drink. I feel that's a disconnect. We are serving a different master if we do that. We are not truly serving the people with our gifts.
I lost my dad when I was young, when I was 2 years old. My father was assassinated. So when I sing, it's from pain. It's from a place of redemption. It's from a place of triumph. I mean, it's our everyday life. It's what we go through. You know, when you're in a society where you don't have help from the government, when you're in a society where your every daily bread, you have to fight for it, you have to work for it, it's pain. It's pain, you're surviving. It's the battle of the survivor. And so when artists come from the slum and make it out, it's a big deal because you're making out to the rest of the world and you're showing people back where they are from that it's possible for them to do something big.
I just stay my lane, not one of them, cause we are not the same. Not one of them, cause we are not the same. Not one of them. We are not the same.
I believe that Afrobeats has become a means of exporting our personality as a people, our culture. It's given us a sound that is our own.
Have you heard of Pangea? When Earth was one. And you know that Rio is straight from Lagos, right? Have you seen the world map? So if you look at South America, where it breaks off, you can tell that it breaks off from Africa. That place, Rio, is from like this. They test the beach sand, and it's the same sand on both sides.
We didn't fall from the sky, so we came through some people, which they are now our ancestors. So it's just normal for us to carry it along, to know our roots.
The African force is the black force. It's the melanin force. It's true beauty. It's the definition of beauty. It's the source from which everything called beauty emanates. The first man is black. The first man is black. That's what it is. We're original. Original. When you hear original, think black. That's what it is.
You know that I can't sleep when I don't hear your voice. You know that I can't eat if I don't see your face.
I can't wait for what the future holds, because it's too bright.
So I'm addicted to you.
I think Afrobeat is going to become so mainstream that people will now have different expressions to Afrobeats that the original creators of Afrobeat might get mad.
The music must keep its authenticity. If it keeps its authenticity, it's going to keep going and growing and growing forever.
So, the Africa blood, young hustlers, we just want to win, we just want to do it.
So your heart got to keep playing, keep beating. That's the instrument. Your heart is the instrument. It keeps beating. Once it stops beating,
I believe it's time for an African people-powered highway. The highway that will connect the diaspora and the motherland. A global highway for African people all over the world to discover themselves. To remember that the only thing that unites black people globally, the only thing that we have in common, is that we are from Africa. Africa.
That journey with us. I'm Tenny, the Sugar Mommy, and it was amazing to be with you. I can't wait to see you in the next season of The Beat Diaspora.